the context is that, of course, Manchester City have shown an unprecedented. You see, they are the team of the year anywhere in the world. We know that. But to beat the team of the century the way they have in the semi-final of the Champions League is something special. And they did that with revenge on their minds. Now we know. The pain of last season is what spurred them on to do what they did to Real Madrid. Danny, as your reward for predicting that Manchester City will beat Real Madrid in the second leg by 4-0, please, Pep versus Sir Alex Ferguson, who is the greatest manager of all time?
First of all, Gary, I want to say thank you for my stone. For somebody to sit in the studios of Joy FM in Kokomlemle and boldly say that Manchester City will score 4 goals in the second leg and beat Real Madrid by 4-0. It's crazy. But when you operate in the prophetic, when you say some things, oh my God,
amen,
it has come true. Now they are looking at me. You are looking at me and waiting for explanations. When they reached the semi-final, Ancelotti was there calling Maldini that see you in Istanbul. You are not serious. You are going to face Pep Guardiola and you are telling somebody in the other semi-final, see you in Istanbul. They'll sit in the stands and watch us play the final. We've prepared 2 seats for them at Istanbul, the presidential 2. They will sit there, Maldini and Ancelotti, and they will watch us play the final. And we'll lift the trophy in front of them. Gary, when I finish this submission, they are going to revoke my Manchester United supporters forms. I'm telling you. Because Ferguson is about to be exposed. Let's remove narratives, okay? And let's look at facts. Facts can never be changed. Narratives, they change over and over and over and over again. Let me give you an example. When Jose Mourinho came to the Premier League in his first 2 seasons, there was this crazy narrative. Wenger said it. Fergie said it. He's buying the league. Chelsea were buying the league. Today we are sitting here. Mourinho can create teams. He can. You see the way it has changed? So let's look at facts. There's this false narrative about Sir Alex Ferguson that he won his trophies with academy graduates and average players. Big lie. A big lie. Sir Alex Ferguson literally monopolized the Premier League because of the spending and financial power he had at Manchester United. And the records are there. It's clear. I will not lie to you. Let's start from 1989. Oh, I'm not talking about 2000 and something. 1989.
The year Arsenal won the league.
He bought Mark Hughes. Mark Hughes had left Manchester United to Barcelona. He brought him back for £1.8 million. That was the second most expensive transfer in British history. The same year, he broke the British record transfer. He brought Gary Pallister for £2.9 million. So in the same season, the same transfer window, he has done second most expensive and most expensive. 3 years down the line, Roy Keane, £3.7 million, British record transfer. So Fergie broke his own British record transfer and signed Roy Keane from Nottingham Forest to Manchester United. Now, the story behind Roy Keane's transfer from Nottingham to Man United is a very interesting one because it buttresses my points and shows you how Man United had crazy financial power and could literally walk and bully any team to surrender their best players. And I intentionally didn't take the transfer story from any other site. I took it from the Manchester United site. Now United, I think a couple of years ago, they decided to be giving us backstories of some of their transfers. They didn't know they were exposing themselves. But let me start. It says in the summer of this is from Man United's website.
ManUnited.com.
In the summer of '93, Nottingham Forest firebrand Roy Keane was one player every team wanted to sign. Operating as a box-to-box midfielder or even a centre half at times, at the age of 21, he looked every inch of a world-class performer in the making. Arsenal were long-time suitors, but Blackburn Rovers moved into poor position and they actually thought they had brokered a deal. Keane even agreed to move to Rovers After shaking hands with Kenny Dalglish, who was the then manager of Blackburn Rovers, he had given him his word. Now this is where it gets interesting. The bully, Sir Alex Ferguson, called Roy Keane, and there's a quote. I agreed a deal and shook hands with him. That is Roy Keane speaking now. He said, I went back to Cork, and on Sunday morning, woke up and I got a phone call. Sir Alex told me, come to my house and we'll meet for talks tomorrow. That was it. Nottingham Forest, Blackburn Rovers didn't have £3.7 million to pay. So Roy Keane had to go to the team that had money. 2 years later, Manchester United set another record transfer. Andy Cole from Newcastle United. The season after Andy Cole had set the 34 goals in a season, the record that Haaland just broke. He was the best striker in England at the time. He and Alan Shearer. And you people all know the stories. Fergie wanted both of them. And he ended up having to settle for Andy Cole for £7.5 million. Then British record transfer deal. The following season, Ferguson goes to Norway, goes to buy Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, makes him the most expensive Norwegian transfer at the time, and brings him to Manchester United. The same season, Ferguson goes to Tottenham Hotspur. And if you know at the time, let me just paint the picture for you. Fergie now has Andy Cole, he now has Solskjaer, there was Alan Shearer, there was Teddy Sheringham. They were the hottest strikers in the Premier League at the time. Ferguson goes to Tottenham and tells them, hey, surrender Sheringham because I want to win another title. Tottenham said no. And they said if Man United wanted to sign Sheringham, they needed to pay £6 million. The records are there and they are clear. Sheringham then came out and made his transfer request public. So it forced Tottenham Hotspur's hand to half the price. And he left Tottenham Hotspur to Manchester United for £3.5 million. So now, Ferguson has Solskjaer, he has Cole, he has Sheringham. And this is a man who plays two strikers. So it means one of them is sitting on the bench. But this is somebody who was winning with average players, right? Let's continue. The following year, Dwight York was breaking. Look, he was banging in goals for fun at Aston Villa. One of the best strikers in the Premier League. New image top striker in the Premier League. What did Ferguson do? £13 million. The second most expensive transfer in Britain at the time. Second only to Alan Shearer from Blackburn to Newcastle. Ferguson went to bring him. So now, Ferguson's Manchester United had 3 of the top 4 strikers in the Premier League, all in his team.
Most expensive, yeah.
Most expensive too. That is cool. The same season, but look, this one is so interesting. After buying Dwight York, literally the following week, Gary, the following week, Jaap Stam from PSV Eindhoven, £15 million, joint with Alan Shearer, another record. 2 years later, Fabien Barthez goes to buy him straight after Euro 2000, makes him the most expensive goalkeeper of all time at the time.
Yeah.
Now, at 2000, I'll take a break and just give you some context. When you look at the top spenders in the Premier League, from when the Premier League changed their branding, so from 92 up to 2000, the average top spenders in a season, they were spending about £19 million every summer or every season when you add everything. In 2000, everything changed when Ferguson elevated his spending muscle and became the first manager, and the Man United became the first club to spend over £50 million in a single transfer window. They spent £58 million. Who did they go and buy? Ruud van Nistelrooy from PSV Eindhoven. £19 million. The same transfer window, one Sebastian Veron for £21 million. British transfer record. You know the funny thing about that season? Do you know who won?
2000.
Yes. 2000, 2001. Do you know who won?
Tell us.
The only man with a record and legacy that nobody will be able to touch. And he didn't build that record with money.
My own man.
Papa Wenger went a whole season unbeaten. Did it 49, only to be robbed by referees and Manchester United at Old Trafford. I watched that game as a United fan, and to today I don't understand why we won that game. Rob. Let's proceed.
Because of agenda.
2002, the following season, Ferguson goes to Leeds United. There's a top-class centre-back who is troubling Premier League teams. His name is Rio Ferdinand. Ferguson goes to buy him for £22 million. Another British record.
Most expensive defender at the time.
The following season, and this is where the narrative, I said, you see, let's look at facts. People will come and try and change this one. And this story, you are hearing it from me, Daniel Koranteng, the biggest Cristiano Ronaldo fan in the history, in the whole world, nobody, past and present. Manchester United went to buy a superstar from Portugal, young boy by the name of Cristiano Ronaldo. They spent £13 million. Do you know, should I put into context? He was the most expensive teenager in the history of football at the time. £13 million for an 18-year-old. Now, the story behind that deal is Arsenal had scouted him for months. And Arsenal had more or less had an agreement with Sporting Lisbon. But the money was less than Arsenal couldn't. Wenger, Charlie, where is he going to get £13 million for an 18-year-old? So Ferguson goes, bullies his way, and gets the boy for £30 million, most expensive teenager. The following season, Ferguson breaks that same record by buying the hottest English talent in the league, Wayne Rooney, for £27 million. 2 seasons later, Ferguson goes to Portugal. Under 20 World Cup superstar Anderson, he's in Porto. Ferguson buys him, 19-year-old, crashes Rooney's record. In fact, equals it. £27 million for Anderson. The following season, Dimitar Berbatov is in Tottenham Hotspur, troubling teams in the Premier League. Ferguson plucks him from Tottenham Hotspur. In fact, forced his hand. Tottenham actually they issued a written complaint to the Premier League on how Man United conducted themselves on that deal. Because Ferguson, whilst negotiations were going on, and the quotes are there, he went on publicly and said that Berbatov had agreed to come to Man United. Somebody's player. Somebody's player. Because you want to snatch him from Tottenham Hotspur.
Charlie.
£30 million.
Oh!
This is bait. This is bait. Me, I don't think about the game.
I absolutely love what that means.
In 2011,
I see you are noting things.
Ferguson goes on to buy David De Gea, a keeper who has had 1 season top flight experience in Spain. Was one of the hottest goalkeepers in Spain at the time. Real Madrid were watching him. Ferguson pays £18 million for him. Makes him the second most expensive goalkeeper of all time at the time.
Yeah.
£18 million. So if somebody tells you that Man U paid a bargain fee, it's a lie. He was the most expensive goalkeeper to come to the Premier League and the second most expensive goalkeeper of all time. Second only to Gianluigi Buffon.
Yeah.
Phil Jones, that same season.
Phil Jones, who has retired only yesterday
Manchester
from United,
paid £17 million for Phil Jones, making him the second most expensive teenager of all time. Second only to Wayne Rooney. Another Man United signing.
So your point is,
no,
you have used 5 minutes to debunk the average that.
Isn't it more than 5 minutes? Like 10 minutes.
Okay.
Let me land. There's
Like
more time
you put
for
time for top.
There's
more time for you.
Time
Don't worry.
Time
Plenty time day. Let me put it into
That's
context.
why we started the debate early today.
Fantastic.
In the Premier League at the time,
Yeah.
if you look at the financials of the various clubs, go to the Forbes richest teams list. Man United, Real Madrid. Man United,
Yeah.
Real
In the
Madrid.
world.
Man United's financial power as compared to the rest of the English teams, the gap was so huge.
Yeah.
So United literally could walk into any club who to threaten them and take their star player, as I've read. Gathered his team with the biggest and the best players in England.
In the world.
In the world.
Yeah.
And was winning league after league after league after league after league. That false perception that he won his leagues and his Champions League with academy players, and this is the starting 11 for the team that played the 99 final. Schmeichel was imposed. He bought him. No academy player. Erwin, Johnson. In fact, let me just read the academy players. There was Gary Neville, Beckham, Nicky Butt, who wouldn't have started if Keane was fit. And then, what's his name? And Giggs. 4 academy players.
Class of 92.
Class of 92. The narrative is that the team was sort of built around these people. That's a big lie. That's a big lie. Roy Keane was a solid member of that team. The front two literally had that was the best combination-wise. Andy Cole and Dwight York, the kingpins of that team. Schmeichel, solid kingpin of that team. Yap Stam, the core of that team were not the academy boys. The only one you can add is Scholes, because Scholes' suspension was talked more like it was like if Scholes didn't play, Man U were in trouble.
Yeah.
So he was like a key guy. But when you go through Man United's teams over time, the core of the players in those teams were never academy boys. 2008, the starting 11 had 1 academy player in that team. It was Paul Scholes. The rest of them, $1 million buys. Ferdinand, Vidic, Evra, Carrick, Hargreaves, Ronaldo, Tevez, Rooney, money. So if you want to pin Pep down and say he's literally buying his way to the titles, this is what monopoly looks like.
You mean Ferguson showed him the way?
Ferguson showed him the way.
And
you
taught
see,
him how to do it.
as football progressed, if you watch the final, the numbers are there, they are clear. When Abramovich's money came to Chelsea, it started changing.
Yeah. He blew the concept of normality apart.
Thank you.
Yeah.
There was now a third force. And you see, in all this, I'm not mentioning Wenger as somebody who was, because that is the true legend. That is a maker. He makes a way when there seems to be no way, as in Wenger. He makes championship winning teams with coins. Around the time Abramovich's money came, there was a change. Mourinho comes, he wins the league. Remember, the Barclay card deal had come. Sponsorship money, TV deal. Money started going around the Premier League. So we started seeing more foreign managers. We saw teams like Liverpool at the time. They went to pick Benitez. They could go and attract some of the top players around the world. Gerard Houllier. You go and look at even Tottenham. They went to pick, what's his name? Berbatov and Co. 2007, more Arab money came from Man City. Money is going around. So now more forces are being built. Fergie started struggling there. You understand? Now, he couldn't walk up to Man City and say, give me your star player. Because Man City don't need that money.
Yeah.
They don't need your money. They have money now.
Chelsea don't need your money.
Chelsea don't need your money. So the big teams will
Spurs don't
stand
need
their
your
ground.
money.
Yeah.
Aston Villa don't need your
And
money.
that is
Liverpool won't sell to you.
Don't
Won't
sell to you.
Yeah.
That is the era that Pep Guardiola has found himself in. That Jose Mourinho found themselves in. Klopp has found themselves in. All of them are spending.
Yeah.
But there's no monopoly because nobody is crippling anybody to become a powerhouse. That is what Ferguson was doing. And that is a serious problem. Now, when you look at even how he was winning, and that's just what even makes Pep the good. If you look at how Ferguson was winning the league titles, 79 points, 80 points. Ferguson's highest ever point tally was 92.
Yeah.
And that was a 42-game season. 42-game season. 92 points. Jose Mourinho came, his first season, he did 95. He broke it. He said, this is the record for here. 95 points, he broke it. When the Invincibles, Papa Wenger, he did it in a 38-game season.
Yeah.
He did what? 90 points that season. If they have played one more match, 93, we do record. Simple. That's my point. Look at the points tallies you were winning with. Whilst crippling your opposition, crippling your main rivals, you couldn't even win it clear. Pep has come. 93, 98, 100 points. Somebody is getting 97 points, they are not winning league. Somebody is getting 92 points, they are not winning league. That is the standard that Pep has taken the Premier League to.
Which is the teams that were respectively second in those seasons
Thank you.
that you mentioned.
Pep Guardiola, before he came to the Premier League, you played some of the voice, but it's like maybe because of the accent people didn't hear. So I'll say it with my Ghanaian accent so that the locals can understand me. When Pep was coming to the Premier League, Ferguson said he's not sure he'll be able to replicate that side. The Premier League is not easy. 5 out of 7. We are doing 3 in a row on Sunday. that legacy that you say you've left behind, you boom. June 10, treble. We've equaled it. Sir Cecil Jones Atukwetu, why treble? Pep will become the second manager in history to win treble twice. What's his name? Jose Mourinho, why treble? When you are talking about legacy and you want to be considered the GOAT, you have to do something that nobody can do. Nobody can do. Has anybody ever gone a season unbeaten? That is a legacy. And the man did it when his main rival was crippling him. 100 points. When will be that? Oh, Larry, when will be that?
No.
100 points. The Centurions. You see, the people with legacy, they have names. The Invincibles. The Centurion. You know what is your name?
Fergie time.
The Trailblazers.
Fergie time. We have Fergie time.
Ferguson is a top guy. But when the thing is clear, you see, guy, I will not come and sit here and lie. My faith will not allow me to sit on this platform and lie.
No, now.
When I come on this very distinguished and prestigious platform, Joy 99.7 FM, this beautiful seat that I'm sitting on, I can't come here because my employees are paying me to come and be factual and objective.
Is that when you are sitting where?
In this beautiful place for me.
Joy 99.6.
I like it. I can't come and sit here and lie when the truth is staring me in the face.
Right. So please
Basito
be whining now.
is not an employee, so maybe he will come and sit here and lie. So allow him to sit here and lie to you.
You see? Guy,
Why are you
it's
setting?
okay.
Why are you setting the man up?
Do you recall when we were doing debates in school, right? When you are finishing, you have to throw a punch.
You have to throw a punch in the
Just
guy.
let them know that
So-
the judges will know that no, you what you're coming to do is very useless.
I agree. What Danny has done is to take Sicho's main protagonist, Sir Alex Ferguson, throw him under the bus, literally, and then build his own points. When he's finished, he's now setting you, the listener, up to not believe anything Sicho will say. Now, just like a lawyer will say, you see, in a grand jury, we tell the jury before the hearings begin, we admonish them that everything and every decision you make in this court should be based on the facts that you hear in this court. Don't let anything outside this court. And so that is what we will let our listeners know. Danny wants to instigate you against Sicho with external forces.
Listeners are listening.
Discerning listeners. But we know our listeners are discerning. You can tell when you are being baited. Anyway.
Joy 99.7 FM.
So Danny had 15 minutes to give his submission. Sicho, we have time.
Right.
You can do 5, 10, 15 as well.
So I'll
lay your points.
I'll be brief because this matter is not a debate.
Hey!
There's no discussion.
Hey!
And I absolutely want to applaud Danny for making the work simple because he went over the whole period of Ferguson, praising him for having a good eye for quality players, signing them and making the most of them. You see, all the players Danny mentioned. And I'm even surprised Danny was actually hyping Ferguson's ability. Because the players he mentioned, Andy Cole, Roy King, everything. But all the players he mentioned, apart from maybe 4 of them, Anderson wasn't great because of his injuries. Phil Jones, Sebastian Veron, all of the other players that he spoke about. In that Man United team, when Ferguson had scouted them and I brought them in, the impact clear. That is a mark of a great coach anyway. So I'm just happy he was hyping Ferguson all over the place. But now let's go back to the main issue. And then he spent more time talking about Fergie than to tell us Pep and what Pep has really done for us to spend more time on Fergie, because sometimes you have to cripple the goods so that when you catch off the legs, he can stand on his knees and match up to the head of the bowed one. You see, if the goat is standing in the feet, if you cut the leg, make it fall on his knees. Don't say you go fix it up and pay of the one that has the head. So he spends all the time cutting Ferguson's. But let's talk about Sir Alex Ferguson. He's the person I want to talk about and tell you why, in my opinion, he's the greatest, or factually, he's the greatest Premier League coach ever.
Yeah.
To a large extent, the greatest football manager ever. You see, and I'm happy with the way he started. But I've always said that when people talk about SAF, the first thing they remember is Man United. And that is why when Danny speaks about the fact that Pep, there's a perception that he's signed players and all of that. That perception, it is true, but I'll come to it. So let's Ferguson in this started coaching for Man United. It's been something that has been consistent throughout his career. Ferguson is a fixer. And the most difficult thing to do in football is to build your own system. When I talk about system, it's not tactics.
Yeah.
The most important thing in football is to build a culture, a winning culture. Is to build an environment where, find a platform where people can thrive. When Ferguson started his coaching, I won't even go to St. Mirren. I'll start from Aberdeen because St. Mirren have won the division something there, but division something. But in Aberdeen, you see, people don't even know that Ferguson, till now, is the only coach in Scotland in the Scottish division that has won the league or the cup who hasn't coached Celtic or Rangers. Like in Scotland, it's like in Ghana. If Kotoko and House were winning every other season, and another manager wins with Ebusia Dwarfs, and it's been like 50 years, we're going to talk about that manager as he's the only manager to have won the Ghana Premier League or the FA Cup without coaching Kotoko House. In Scotland, he's the only manager that has won the Championship or the Cup or the Scottish Cup without coaching Celtic or Rangers. He did it with Aberdeen. He still is the only manager to beat Real Madrid in an European final. He did it with Aberdeen in the Cup Winners' Cup. Now, the reason why I'm building the premise, we are talking about the premise, I want to build the premise from there. When he took over Aberdeen, Aberdeen were nowhere near dreaming of winning anything. But like I said, he's a fixer. He builds, and he himself will mold it from the ground. When Ferguson was in Aberdeen, at some point, he could wrestle with Celtic and Rangers to get some of the best players around Scotland. Do you know why? He had built the platform, gradually built a culture that could make money in terms of Aberdeen. So the money Ferguson is spending, he is part of those who made the money. And part of his coaching is to create an environment that makes money so that he can spend. Like, there are different things. So there's a difference between a country is pumping money for every manager at a certain club.
Yeah.
There's a difference between in a certain club, in a certain country, they monopolize everything. They have the money more than anybody. And somebody who helps make money, or he himself finds a way of making money. Ferguson made the money for Aberdeen so that they could spend and compete.
Yeah.
That is the reason why when Man United brought him in, they didn't bring him in into the Premier League to come and coach a team that was winning. They didn't bring Ferguson in to come and coach a team that had just made the Champions League semi-final from their previous manager, Pellegrini. They didn't bring in Ferguson to come and coach a team that had a Premier League winner from Mancini, an FA Cup winner from him, and a Premier League winner from Pellegrini. No.
Good point.
They brought him into a team that were on their knees. A team that was struggling. A team that was down because they knew that it's not only Ferguson's ability is not only about winning in 90 minutes on the pitch or standing on the pitch and throwing his hand about like he was an economist. In fact, one of the first people who redefined coaching and turning into being a manager was Sir Alex Ferguson. Because he managed the club to the extent that the plotting in making money to spend, it was through him. Yeah. So when you only pick the spending part and you don't talk about how they made the money, you've missed the point. Yeah. You've absolutely missed the point. You see, that is why when you praise Arsene Wenger, I like it.
Yeah.
Because
Wenger is widely regarded as the second person who did it as successfully as.
If Wenger didn't even at the point agree that, Charlie, let's sacrifice the spending and build the Emirates.
Yeah.
Wenger could have probably won more than he won. So when they're talking about managers, that is the level. Coaching is different. We're talking about the greatest Premier League manager. If you like add coaching, and I'll come to that one too as well.
You have time.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. I'll come to that one too as well. See, now Ferguson comes to Man United. The team is bad. Like, people don't remember. You see, Gen Z and Twitter babies, it is difficult for them to remember what Man United were like at the time when Ferguson came.
Please remind us.
The team wasn't good. The team wasn't winning. The team didn't have a culture. The team were full of old boys who thought that you didn't born a boy
and a drinking culture and
drinking culture, partying, baby girls and things.
Who's men?
Ferguson walks into a club like Man United and says, Kodum, stopped. There was no culture at the club that gave them the platform to win. Now, Ferguson from the scratch built it. Ferguson from the scratch. And for many years, Man United had not won the Premier League. They were not winning. He built it. Now, when he built that platform and realized that, you see, I can't always trust that I can bring in players to come and do the job for me. So let me groom players in my own making. You see the way God was going to create the earth and said, like, Charlie, call the angels and said, like, listen, Charlie, the Jata is not like us. Catfish is not like us. Horse is not like us. Tilapia, no be like. So let us create something in our own image.
Kukurudu is not like us.
Perfecto. So Ferguson decides that instead of building a whole team of buying superstars, yes, I'll identify some people, which is part of management, identify some people who will help. But let me now focus on getting some of the best players around Greater Manchester, even go to London, and then bring them in, and then train them in his own image. Hence, class of 92. Now, let me say this. From the time Ferguson started that project till the time he retired,
2013.
in every single year that he was successful, somebody from that culture was part, or people from that culture were part of the club. It's not as if he built a system that broke down. Throughout his successful period at Man United, from 92, coming down to the time he retired in 2013, the key people, his leaders, his people who could transmit his ideas were all coming from that class. That is a guy who has a vision, he has a plan, he knows exactly what he's doing. And look at the players he built. The greatest players in the history of the Premier League, all of them are there. David Beckham, Paul Scholes, Ryan Giggs, nobody say something where their wives will get something like Premier League Hall of Fame. He's number one. He's number one. Yeah. Ryan Giggs is a bigger Premier League legend than Alan Shearer. Forget his goals.
Just take away the off-pitch issues and he's
yes. See, the boys like Paul Scholes, Ryan Giggs, David Beckham, Gary Neville, Phil Neville, Nicky Butt. Like, these are boys who Gary Neville, I never thought he was a good footballer.
Oh, yeah.
He managed, even though he knew he wasn't a proper footballer.
Yeah.
You see, I don't like coaches who can't coach people who see in every class. Yeah. You will never have everybody being brilliant.
On the same level.
But great managers and great coaches and are able to make people who are average a part of a good class.
Yes.
But some coaches, you can't know, you don't know, play good, throw you away, make you disgrace you. Even if you're a legend before you came, you tell people you can't play the ball with your feet, your heart. Go away.
Go away! Because you don't want to play.
Yaya Toure. You want to show power that even if you can sack Yaya Toure, then who are you?
Eto Entins. Zlatan Entins.
Charlie.
Deco, Ronaldinho, and
sack them all.
Because he doesn't have what it takes to blend people who are average with I don't know if he coach average players
like Sergio Busquets from the academy.
He wasn't average special talent
from Team B.
He was special talent.
But Sergio Busquets was special.
He's been special since
Messi. It's on record.
Yes.
When Pep brought Sergio Busquets from Team B to the first Barca training, Messi walked in, saw him, went to Pep and said,
this guy is the guy.
He said, this guy can play.
This guy is the guy. Yeah. The guy was special from Titi.
So,
Pep
says, I mean, he knew that, but he was not sure. But when Messi told him that this guy can play, that is when he knew.
Charlie, Pep used Rico Lewis 2 days now. He said, no, you don't train again. Go back to
the guy did it. Why did you say?
The train without the training.
He did the first team inside.
He can't watch the training song.
No, he did the first team.
He can't watch it, he plays off.
But that's beside the point. Now, what Ferguson did, and it was great, was that. Yeah. You see, and what Mukhtar and Danny said, it's not true. Ferguson wasn't buying from Chelsea. Even at the time that Chelsea were not Chelsea. He wasn't buying from Arsenal. He wasn't buying. He was buying from Spurs.
He wasn't buying from Liverpool. Yeah,
he wasn't buying from Liverpool. He would never do that. So when he said that this era, Pep can't buy for Ferguson never bought from Liverpool. Which Liverpool player did Ferguson buy? Where Chelsea players at that time, and then no Saturday for who he buy. Ferguson was buying players, good players, and you see at that time there were several good players in other teams. Ferguson would go there, buy them and make them great. You go and buy them and make them great. Now let me move on from That one and come to something that everybody underrates. That I hate. How long Ferguson stayed at Manchester United? See, when you are in one institution and you have to always remind yourself that you have to be successful, you can't be comfortable. It's about one of the most difficult things to do. Anytime you make a move, it's a new challenge.
Yeah.
When you are at the same place and you become a god and you become the one, Ferguson becomes Manchester United and he has to challenge himself to win. No manager can do that in the history of football. It won't happen. He was there for 26 years.
27.
If you like, make your guy try, make it see. Make it try, make your man, make it try.
Pep G, yo.
You do the work in 10 years. Don't worry.
No, I want him to stay there for 26 years and continue being successful.
No.
And continue.
No,
Wait.
age-wise, they are not same.
What do you mean? How old is he? How old is he?
Oh, Papa.
Ferguson retired from football when he was like, what, 67, 68?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
But your man, how old is your man? He just stay there for some more years.
No, it's boring.
That's one of the things. It can be boring. But you see, Ferguson was there for how long?
27 years.
And people also forget that when Ferguson came, his primary task was to take Liverpool off the dominance in the Premier League.
Knock them off their F pitch.
Accomplished it in his final season. Said,
See?
It was Ferguson couldn't coach.
Yeah.
The guy had ambitions. After his ambitions, he was like, I am done. The job I came here to do, right now, my soul and spirit can go and eat and drink and watch football for fun. I finished the Premier League. Ferguson has won the Premier League 13 times with Manchester United. And during
27 years.
yes, in 27 years. And
That's
during
terrible.
that is incredible.
That's terrible
It is
outcome compared to Pep Guardiola
no, Pep
7
has done
years.
nothing. No, I'll come to you and say Pep has done nothing. Let me tell you, when Ferguson was the coach of Man United, after almost every 3 years, there was a new competitor. People think this Pep era, it's not competitive. The Premier League is not competitive.
Because of Pep.
It's not because of Pep.
Then it's because of
It's because the other teams are not good enough. It's not Pep. Now come to it. When Ferguson was coach, first was Blackburn. He had to beat Blackburn to win the league. Newcastle then came.
Right.
He beat Newcastle to win the league. That's a different challenge. Then your man,
Arsenal.
Arsene Wenger, came with a different brand of football nobody has seen before. He came to win the league. Ferguson beat him to win the league. Then Abramovich and Jose came. 2 years he had not won. Ferguson re-strategized and beat them 3 times in a row to win the league. Then Man City got money. They came to win. He beat them to win the league and said, me, I'm done. Any challenger who comes, when you come and I see you, I'll beat you. That's what he did. When Pep came, who has challenged Pep? Like, the Premier League is so bad now. You see, when I talk about the Premier League being a famous league now, the Premier League is at its all-time lowest. At the moment,
They have they have more money, but yeah.
yes, the quality-wise, Premier League is. It's not the Premier League of old where you have Arsenal. That was proper top 4. When you spoke about top 4, proper. These days you don't have top 4. You are playing top 4 and Spurs and Co are playing top 4. Are you serious? Those days, you have Arsenal, Chelsea.
Spurs gotta look after you.
No, they know. When Spurs get to top 4, they are happy. It's a trophy for them. We're talking about teams that, and those days, the reason why Ferguson, no team at the time could finish 90 points, 95 points was because no other team in the Premier League will allow you to win the number of games these teams are winning. They were that good as well. And Ferguson all the time had to beat those challenges to make sure that he was at the top. So when you finish 92 points, it doesn't mean that you are good though. You also have to check those you are competing against. Finally on Pep. You see, Pep has never had to build anything. Never. He's never had to build any culture. Nothing. You see, shortly before Pep took over Barcelona, they were Champions League winners 2006. He came in 2009.
Yeah.
That is a winning club. They won the La Liga. When he came, he changed his style. It's coaching. As for coaching, you can bring your principles. You can change your style. But it was a winning club whose fans in that generation knew what winning was about. When Ferguson came, a whole generation had passed. They didn't know what winning was about at Man
They had
United.
been relegated from the 1970s, come from the first division, and there was nothing happening there.
Bro, nobody knew what winning was about. When Pep left Barca for Bayern Munich, Pep didn't go and teach Bayern Munich how to win anything. In fact, he went to fail them. Because the season before he went, they were treble winners.
With Jim Heynckes.
He went there and he went to actually downgrade their level. For 3 years, he didn't show them anything. There was nothing Pep did in Bayern that they had not seen before. In fact, at some point, they told him that his football is boring. That tiki-taka he wants to bring, they want to play high-flying wingers and Robin and Ribery. Even the two players said Pep Casadodo. Then he comes to City. In a year that they were Champions League semi-finalists for the first time in their history. They've won the FA Cup before, Carabao Cup before, Premier League before, twice.
Yeah.
In that generation, the club was used to winning before he came. The club system and the club structure was set. Pep didn't build anything. He's a great coach. He came to build his team. But when it comes to culture, systems, Pep didn't do any of that. I want to see Pep go into a struggling team whose generation can't even remember the last time they won anything. And they make them make money. You see, Pep didn't make Barca make money. Oh.
Yeah.
They had their money. In fact, Pep can't remember Barca. All the Barca scandals started with Pep time.
Okay.
On the bomb. Pep didn't make money for Barca. He lost their money. Pep didn't make money at Bayern Munich. He lost their money. Pep is the reason why Bayern Munich don't have Toni Kroos. Otherwise, by now, that Bayern Munich made for Kimmich and Goretzka. If you have Toni Kroos in their solid, Pep is the reason why it's not there. Pep comes to Man City. He didn't make Man City money. They had money already. Ferguson, everywhere he went, he made them good. He was doing good. End of story.